Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Ni hao. Buenos dias. Buenas tardes. Hesiche. Aquaba. Welcome in. What up, though? This is something. Mélanger Cafe. Cafe Mélanger. So, we are about a minute early. Or 2 minutes early, depending on which clock you're looking at. So I'm going to wait. I've invited one person, uno person, to this session. So, and that person is uncertain on being available amidst the scheduling. So, wait a couple minutes. And then I'll explain what this is. Just had lunch, cleaning teeth. Yeah, and I don't feel like getting into it at the moment. Saying what this is, and then somebody jump on and then say, "Oh yeah, let's start over again." So you get the mug for a few momentos. You can't even see it. Whatever. I don't think you can see it with that. Is that not? Oh, because I'm looking at that. That's why. Oh, funny. He's intelligent. I was expecting to see my face in the phone, but it's not going on if I'm not pointing at myself. Captain Obvious. Hey. Give 2 decimal minutes. Wow, the clocks are aligned all of a sudden. How'd that happen? Wow, that's trippy. That's how it happened. I seem to recall them being 2 minutes separate from each other, but then they coincide exactly, at least in appearance. But perhaps it was just uno momento. That's how it happened. Give it uno, dos, tres. So, according to Murphy's Law, this is what's going to happen. I wait for a couple additional minutes, then I start, then I explain it. Then the brother jumps on the line and says, "Oh, what's going on?" And then I do it again. That's Murphy's Law. So, I'm going to hold off for 5 minutes because I say that's what I was going to do to begin with. So, Banta. Oh, it's a nice day outside. You see the blue sky. Oh, ta. And I'll do it this way as well. Blue sky. It was overcast actually a few hours ago. And kind of cool. Now it's warming up. We got some soleil light. The clouds are clearing. Trees are breezy. Slightly. Birds are kind of quiet. Lunch today consists of rice and beans, or rice and peas if you like, with some curry tofu, TVP, because that's what we got in the pantry, and some ice water that's been stewing in the refrigerator. Didn't have the tea though, some Darjeeling tea. Left that in the refrigerator as well. Didn't have time to do all that. Because we want to be make spiffy. Less than a minute to go. Oh yeah, I forgot about that as well. Interesting. So, chewing up storage as well. Oh, so much storage on the phone. So much storage on the phone. I'm recording it on the phone. But before I get into all that, I shall begin. Alright, what this is, Cafe Mélanger. The idea of Cafe Mélanger is, the endeavor of Cafe Mélanger is establishing an online cafe specifically for Mélanger brethren, which includes all Earth, but specifically in the experience of being Mélanger. It being a place people can go and hang out, ain't necessarily got to have something to say, whatever, just gonna hang out. And the way we look at it in terms of like the setup is that you go to the front page, the home page, and you see like the tables, like a blueprint of a cafe, and then their tables, and then you can see who's sitting at the table, like their screen name or whatever else like that. Then you can sit at the table, you can sit at the table by yourself, or go to another room, this and the other. But that way you can sit and have your webcam on and do your own work. If you want to socialize, you can socialize with people who want to socialize. You can turn the mute off. You got the music going on. You got some ambiance. But a place to hang out online. Safe space, secure space. Ain't got to worry about them trolleys and this, that, and the other. But you go like that and you feel comfortable. And again, it's an intentional community online where people can talk about being Mélanger, being from different cultures, this, that, and the other. This is where the phone is. That's where the line is. All right. So that's the idea. Now that takes some doing. It takes some resources, some materiality to put all that together. So it also takes people to do it, to participate, but also to administrate, and additionally. So that's infrastructure, and that takes some investment, and that takes some doing. So in the meanwhile, to encourage to build up to that, we just start where we at. So at the moment, the endeavor is holding a forum regularly on the online place, the interweb, and have it as a constant, as much as possible, for people to go to and talk this, that, and the other. So I have been doing Mélanger for decades at this point. And so I have a certain familiarity, and I also have a certain dedication to it, commitment to it, and thus I provide a service of hosting to a certain extent amidst my mastery of mediocrity. So I provide that service. That's one of my skill sets that I offer to the table. So I endeavor to host the initial iterations of Cafe Mélanger. So I started up a new YouTube channel, Cafe Mélanger, and I get ready to live stream. Oh, we live stream on a daily basis, Monday through Thursday, that is. And okay, alright, you get to start. But here's the thing though. First of all, I ain't got no internet where I live. Haha. The place where I stay, this place where you see me at, ain't got no internet. Ain't got no interweb at the moment. And so that narrows the availability, the opportunities for live streaming. Um, so can't do it off the PC. Can't do it. Don't actually have a PC. It's actually an Apple. It's a Mac. It's a Mac. So can't do it off the laptop at the moment. Do it off the phone. Oh, it's not an iPhone. Oh, look at me. So do it off the phone. All right. What can we do? So I say, oh, we still live stream off YouTube. But guess what? YouTube restrictions. Yes, you can live stream, but not off your mobile phone, unless you have over 1,000 subscribers. Foiled. So that's one option. The other option is Zoom, hosting a conference thing. Okay, but you can have again no money at the moment. So free service. You can have up to 100 people at a time. Oh, fantastic! About up to 40 minutes. That's what we can do for the moment. So do that. But then guess what? When you do it on Zoom, apparently can't be recording it too tough. So you can have it all you like, but you can't show it to others afterwards. How about that? So that's a foil again. So I thought, no problem. We'll screenshot it. Screen record it. That's what we're doing here. I just downloaded this joint. Where is it? Can you see it? I don't. There it is. You can see it right there. I downloaded the app. Oh, screen record. All right. Does it work? Yes, apparently, but it takes up so much memory. And then, however, guess what? They don't record the audio because apparently the audio is dedicated to the Zoom service, and it's not available for the screen recording. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, and then so wait a minute, got a sound recorder for that on the phone that came with it. Came with the phone. Can we do that? Oh no, it's still dedicated to the Zoom. Can't record sound on it. Either way, so guess what we're doing? Recording on the laptop. The whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, and we'll see how we upload this because it's going to take some editing. Because for the moment, because I'm doing it dolo, ain't nobody else on the meeting, I can just use this joint. But we see how the tech works to upload it simultaneously with this joint. Oh yeah. I'll get to that in a minute. So that's where things are. That's the logistics. So to be honest, it doesn't actually take too much doing. If I have an internet, then I can live stream off the laptop. Simple, easy done. Even without 1,000 subscribers. Easy. Alright, that answers that part. But with the live stream even, it seems as though it's increasingly spotlighted, meaning that it's one person talking and then people in the chat room. I have yet to see it webinar style, where other people can be shown on the screen as well. So that's seemingly the option with the YouTube. Now with Zoom, it is multiple. And if I have the internet here, I can presumably record on the Zoom. I've done that before many times a number of years ago on the laptop. So that would probably be the optimal option, but it's less accessible. It's less of like an open thing for people to like just pop onto because it requires a call in. So that's that joint. And then then it would only be for 40 minutes, 40 minutes, because that's the limitation that Zoom instills for the free service. The 1995 or whatever it is, $20 a month service has up to a full day meeting for up to 100 people or 1,000 people, whatever it is. We ain't doing too tough with the numbers at the moment, so don't worry too much about that. But again, that's a monthly service fee, this and the other. That takes some doing. Right now we're concentrating on the pantry on this side. So those are some of the considerations. Those are logistics. And again, this is towards building towards a designated website platform that hosts it specifically. Otherwise, I think YouTube is most comfortable probably for people, for many people, depending upon people's range of familiar preferences, because some people don't like the YouTube thing. So we'll see what else. But at the moment, we're doing a bootleg style. Um, and we'll see how it goes. And also want to do it and start it up and establish it. So uh, that is that. Um, so what do we talk about this thing? So first of all, my thing ain't to be talking on this joint. That's a lot of work, particularly on a Monday through Thursday basis. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I'm double dipping. I'm burning the candle at both ends, because I'm actually have another commitment at this moment. I'm on the clock. I'm on the job at the moment. Uh, on another thing, hosting study sessions. Ain't nobody here at the moment, so I ain't got to worry about it. There might be people coming in later on, so that's one thing I have to work on. So even though I call myself available to host and committed, I am. However, I have other things, obligations as well. So um, that's one thing for Tuesday, to be available Monday through Thursday. But the thing is, the interest in these joints immediately, these recordings, these sessions, is again to establish a repertoire, to establish a pattern, to establish a space, a form, where there's dependability, there's like consistency, constancy, and again a comfort zone to talk about being mélanger, and to build, and additionally, our communities from around the earth. Um, so that's part of the purpose for Monday through Thursday, um, even just for half an hour, and building it so that the cafe is available for longer durations during the week. Um, so I've invited, like I said, I've only invited one person. I only told, I think, only one or two people about this, a few people. So that's one thing I'm working on, is sharing, is spreading the word. But in spreading the word, there's also the intention of making this joint increasingly like legit. So that's part of what this is. Um, in doing it Monday through Thursday, for me, with me, half an hour at least, I run the propensity of talking, and it's beneficial if I'm going to talk, to have something to talk about, succinct, A to B or A to Z, sharing stories, sharing information, and additionally, should I do that this today at this moment? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Hey, I have to get some info. I wasn't planning to do it. That's the other thing too. In me volunteering or offering my services as host for the cafe, it's the idea, and being a host for the cafe would be just like a general host, and not having necessarily the responsibility of presenting, but just being like, hey, what's up? How you doing? That's it, and like administrating the tech of it. In these sessions that I'm doing at this moment, there's increasing responsibility of presenting, because if I'm the only dude on here, what are we going to talk about? And if other people show up, what they want, what are they going to talk about? So my main purpose is just to do this, and to be a presence, to be a place. Monday through Thursdays, the hour. How about that? 14 hour Atlantic Standard Time. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern Zone. But the difference between Eastern Zone and Atlantic Standard is that Atlantic Standard don't go wishy-washy twice a year. So it's the same all the way through. That's basically the difference. So it's 2 p.m. and we ain't switching clocks. So that's it. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's the green joint. Aha! It's the green joint. I was looking for a blue joint. It's a green joint. It's this green joint. Alright. I have some information for you. So today I'm doing too many story stuff. I'll share something else with you. Haha. Oh, I will say also that I'm also working on in a local way here in the Cuyahoga area. We're doing some outreach. We're working on starting a discussion group in the local school and with families with the local school. So that's one thing we're working on. We got some positive response on that, and also starting this discussion group by the university among students and the community. And mañana we are holding our first discussion group at local cafe, local tea house. And so I was out earlier this AM distributing flyers. And to be specific, to be technical, to be exact, distributing a flyer. Because that's how many I distributed today. Uno. But the brother seemed to be receptive and like, oh, yeah, when you do this, and that. So we'll see how that goes. But that's mañana, we had those discussion groups. So that's one thing we're working on. And again, for the discussion group, there is like topic and like actual things to talk about. One of the things we share as like a primer for that is this joint. So this joint shares some basic information, some links, websites for organizations, but also one of the things it does is share this thing called, I'll do it here too, I don't know if you can see that, Pillars of Pluralism. Yeah, and this one's rugged and everything because it's been in the forest. It's been weathered. So we got those Pillars of Pluralism, which are not even legendary, but like prophetic figures from human civilization who share teachings of pluralism, of reconciliation between people from different backgrounds. And so that's one I'll share what the list of that is. And then the other one is Mélanger Legends. So Mélanger Legends, the pillars of pluralism aren't necessarily mixed, but share a message that is conducive and that's supportive of people who are mixed. And then the Mélanger Legends are people who are mixed, who are Mélanger. So that's some of the information that we share in this, and I'll say the list of those people. But then the other thing that we share is this joint, which is the Bill of Rights for people of mixed and mixed heritage. So in the Pillars of Pluralism, I'm just going to say the list. I'm not going to say give a bio of everyone because we got like 5 additional minutes on this joint. Avraham Avinu, Zarathustra, Vyasa, Moshe Rabbeinu, Solomon, Mahavir, or Mahavira, the Buddha, Socrates, Lao Tzu, Confucius, Jesus, Muhammad, Allahu Alaihi Wasallam, Diganawida, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Christian the Ninth, Baha'u'llah, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King. Those are pillars of pluralism. And then for the Mélanger legends, we have Gershom ben Moshe and Eliezer ben Moshe. Menelek Uno, Alexander Pushkin, I can almost talk, Alexander Dumas, or Dumas. Osceola, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. O'Farrell Washington, William Edward Burghardt Dubois. The Gregories, Louis and Louisa. Ralph J. Bunch, Malcolm X, Alhaj Malik El Shabazz, Richard and Mildred Loving, in a mixed relationship with mixed children. Bruce and Linda Lee, in a mixed relationship, a marriage with mixed children. Bob Marley, Bob Nesta, Robert Nesta Marley, and Dr. Maria P.P. Root, Matt Kelly, Kofi and Nan Anan, in a mixed marriage. Barack Obama, Muji, and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, contemporarily. So those are some, again, pillars of pluralism, and then the Mélanger legends. Again, it's a matter of understanding the context of Mélanger and recognizing that Mélanger is an ancient experience. It is as old as humanity is. How about that? And there are many notable figures throughout humanity that directly and indirectly support Mélanger experience, our Mélanger experience. So it's beneficial to have a knowledge of that as we continue in the living and the work that we do, and the laughing, the singing, and all that nice stuff as well, crying, dancing, all that. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Right here, I'll show you. We got a list of from the most recent census, about 10 years ago. Here in the Cuyahoga area, the list of the demographics of ethnic communities or ethnic populations here in the Cuyahoga area, including Melange, which numbers about 30,000. Thereabouts, a little bit less, actually a little bit higher because these numbers are highly represented, not underrepresented, underestimated. So, what I also share with you are some numbers. This I'm just going to show you the list, but it goes on for pages. But this is that is the first page of like 50 pages of similar demographics on nations. Melange statistics on nations, Melange populations and nations, ethnic communities, but particularly in Melange. Now the thing about it is that the statistics that are provided by the United Nations and the United Nations statistics of Division on Statistics is that it's incomplete. Not all the nations are reporting, and many of the nations that do report abstain from keeping a record of people of mixed heritage, Melange. But based on that, the Melange population is something over 109 million people. Got some numbers there. Some nations of note include a lot of Latin nations in the Western Hemisphere, in Tainoterania, Turtle Island, Brazil, if I recall correctly. I think I have the summary here. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. No. So, well, the population in Brazil of mixed people is over 80 million, I think, because that's how the vast majority of the people identify. Here we go. Somebody's calling me. Greetings, this is Peter. Hello. Sounds like somebody's there, but nobody's talking. Well, very nice. Thank you for calling. And they hung up. So let's see what happened with the Zoom meeting when I did all this. Is it still recording? It probably should be recording still. Is it recording still? No. Alright. So we had a guest, an anonymous guest. But here's some numbers on nations. Okay, Brazil, 82 million, 43% of the population. So it's actually technically not the majority. Actually, wait a minute. What are we talking about? What is this? Yeah, all right. So 43%. Belize is 73% of the population. 73. El Salvador is 86% of the population. How about this? I'll go like that. I'll get to numbers again. United States, 118 million. No. 90 million. Wait a minute. Is that right? That can't be right. It's 9 million. There's a couple of zeros after that, so it makes it look bigger. It's just 9 million. Ecuador. This seems to be accurate. 10 million. How about that? um, with over 71% of the population. Mestizo. Uh, El Salvador having, oh no, it's just, no, yeah, it's a 5 million. 5 million. No. That's the total population. It's 4 million, 4.9 million actually. Of mestizo in El Salvador, 10 million in Ecuador, 82 million in Brazil, 2.8 million in Cuba, 4 million in Colombia, 3.6 million in South Africa, 90 million as I said it again, 9 million. It looks like 90. 9 million in United States, and to be honest, it could very well be 90 million actually. It could be even higher. But those are some of the big numbers. And again, this is with only like 30 or 40 nations reporting. Britain is absent. France is absent. Absent. And then there are nations like China, and additionally, to be honest, I'm uncertain if Japan reports. There's information about that through other sources, and the percentage in China is expected extremely low. But China has a very large population. Same thing with India, and so these nations abstain from reporting in the United States. In the United, haha, there's somebody. What's going on? Hello?
Hello.
What's going on, Philip? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear anything.
My audio was off.
Oh, there we go. Here we go.
How you doing, bro?
Hanging in there.
Uh-oh.
How are you?
What's the about?
What's what?
What's the about?
The awe?
There's a pause and a sigh.
Oh yeah, no, things are very difficult right now.
Okay, I'll tone down my joviality.
No, it's all right. You can be as jovial as you want.
It's about balance. So, if it's jovial and somebody's not jovial, then it's not actually genuinely jovial, right?
That's true.
So that's
was anyone else in here earlier?
You're the only person I invited, Joe, because I did it last minute. So, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it to get it started. So I've been recording. I've been giving my gist and talking about names and numbers. So I'm planning to upload it and then like just start the momentum. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I was explaining before, like this is extremely bootleg, yo, because YouTube requires. First of all, I don't have internet where I'm at, so I have to. I'm working off the mobile phone. And then YouTube, I was planning to do this as a live stream on YouTube, but to do a live stream on the mobile, the channel has to have over 1,000 subscribers. So at the moment, I'm precluded from doing that. I can do it on the laptop when there's internet access, but at the moment, that's not available. So the other option is doing the Zoom thing, where it can be up to 100 people and have like the webinar type situation. But Zoom doesn't record on mobile devices, in my experience. So that's one of the challenges. And also, it has a limit of 40 minutes for a meeting with multiple people. So I'm working on the logistics with that. But in the meanwhile, the thought is this. I've been doing this for years, just like you've been doing it for years. And there's a certain commitment, and there's a certain strength and like a safety of like knowing how to like do like mélanger type stuff. So I offer my services as like to facilitate a forum where people can visit, chop it up, or whatever else. And the idea is doing it on a regular basis so that people can just stop in and share ideas, share thoughts, and have like have a certain constancy that it has additional reliability where people can build trust in, and then start having a sense of regularity and a sense of community that builds from that. So that's part of the intentionality. So all these other ideas that I share about and talk about, like part of the reason why I share it is like so people can take off with it. But it's helpful to have like some substance and like a strong foundation. And so that's the intentionality with this forum and with this endeavor. It's just having a space online where we talk about this and where people can go and like and can readily expect it to be there. So that's what I'm doing.
All right. Sounds like you have your hands full.
Oh, most definitely. And I'm double dipping as well because I have another commitment that I'm actually on the clock for that at the moment, but there's nobody visiting at the moment, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, but I'm making myself available Monday through Thursdays at 2 p.m. For a brief amount of time and establishing some regularity. And my plan is to talk with some other people and like have them see this being done with additional amount of legitness, and then encourage other people to also play the role of host as well, even just for half an hour, or once a week or something like that. But get a handful of people doing that, then there's like a block period in the day that people can say, oh yeah, did you check that out today or whatever else. So, but again, building that sense of community with what we have.
I thought you'd invited some other
My intention was to do so, but when I got the hang-ups with the live stream and the Zoom,
right.
I was worried about just getting this done. And even now, like I'm recording it on my laptop, and I'm also seeing how much I can record on my phone. But even then, like the screen recorder, Zoom doesn't record. I'm working on with the screen recorder that I downloaded the app, but it doesn't record the audio. So it's like every time something comes through, something else happens, and there's like another obstacle. So I'm just doing this to get it done and building from where we are at the moment. I am planning to invite some additional people though, but I wanted to get this started at the moment.
Okay.
So you're the only person I invited. So aren't you lucky? Right. Aren't you lucky?
Special.
Yeah. So
I'm so sleepy.
I hear you. What's going on? What's going on your side?
Well, I teach English. You can see behind me.
Okay.
Some ABCs, fun background.
Okay.
So I teach that in the mornings and the evenings. My mom's been sick, so it's been a lot of just busy stuff. Taking care of my mom.
Okay.
What else? Yeah, it's turning into autumn, so it's getting colder.
Yeah, we're getting that autumn wind over here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot and also not a lot going on at the same time. Like, there's a lot of waiting. I booked a commercial.
Okay.
And so I'm waiting for when we're gonna shoot that.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw that short that you did a while ago. I don't know how long ago you did it, but you posted it maybe like a couple months ago, where you were doing that. You were playing the role of a gangster at a high stakes poker game or whatever.
Oh yeah. Did I post that? I don't remember posting that.
How else did I see it, Joe?
Oh, okay. I must have posted it somewhere.
It might have been on your personal account.
Of Facebook?
Philip Coop. It was. I'm not on Facebook, so it was on YouTube.
Oh yeah. I think I uploaded it to get so I was sending that around to get more representation, like a different agent.
Okay.
So.
How long ago did you do that?
It's been like 5 years since that.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I think your hair was a little bit shorter at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yep. One of the things I was sharing before you got on was like I said, some names and numbers I was giving. I sent that email out a while ago about the demographics of the Melange population globally, in the different populations, and places like Brazil having a population of over 80 million people who identify as being mixed. South Africa has something like I was just giving the list, but first of all, not all the nations report. there were only like 30 or 40 nations out of 200 that report at all. And then out of those that do, to be honest, what I found interesting was that a lot of the Latin countries had the largest populations and the largest percentages. Places
Of
like,
course, yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, but yeah, we say of course because we know that. But the thing is, they're actually like identified. They don't just say like, oh no, we're Iberian or no, we're white or whatever. They say no, mestizo. So
Yeah, mestizo,
that's
mestizo.
that's like the norm. So for that to be the case, so pervasive in Latin countries, it's like how have we yet to hear that translate into the conversation amongst Latinos in the United States? Because it's usually just identifying as Latino, but that having a certain, and a lot of people talk about that having a certain amount of ambiguity, but less amount of a recognition or conscientiousness of having indigenous ancestry additionally. At least at the
Right.
forefront. If you talk with many Latinos will say, "Oh yeah, of course, that's in my family background." But in the forefront of the conversation, that tends to be kind of absent in my experience. So when I saw the percentages, I was surprised about that personally. When a couple years ago when I did that, but like Ecuador is 71% with a total population of 10 million, and Belize with 73%, El Salvador with 86%. So the other thing also is where the organizations that like talk about this experience that are in El Salvador or Belize or additionally, where are the organizations that talk about like being mixed and where's the representation in the international forum like the United Nations and additionally where is that conscientiousness in the policy and additionally that's one consideration. And I look to I consider like the colored community or Kluringi or Bruno community in South Africa. They had there's a population of 3.6 million, and over 8% of the population. So that's something that's well known around the earth. But when I still have difficulty finding like an organization or group that specifically represents colored people in South Africa. And I know they're
Really?
yeah I know it's there. It's just a matter of finding it. And the thing is like I went to a school in South Africa in Cape Town called the University of Western Cape that's pretty much known for being like colored. Now there are people from all different backgrounds that attended, but historically it's been a place like where a lot of colored people go to, and so there's that culture. But how much does it readily identify in that manner is uncertain. So again, when connecting internationally, those are some of the considerations.
I, I did not know you lived in South Africa.
I did a study abroad there, that was when I was in law school, and so I met actually. If you recall, a couple years ago, I did the interview about like being mixed and spirituality. You and I did an interview, and I did some interviews with other people. And one of the people I interviewed is a sister named Michelle, who I actually met in South Africa, in Cape Town, and she actually moved back here to. She lives in the Detroit area, and she talked about her experience being colored in South Africa. So. It's a thing, and it's. I mean, there are neighborhoods like that for generations that are known as being mélange or colored neighborhoods, and additionally, but in terms of like groups to connect with and like agencies and personnel, I have yet to do that specifically. I'm getting closer to that, and there's been a couple of hidden misses, but there's one group called Colored Mentality. That is active on Facebook and on YouTube, but we're still working on connecting. So, and then you saw the film Hafu, am I right?
No, I actually haven't
You
watched
haven't
it.
seen that yet? Wow. Okay, interesting. But you've heard about it?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So do you know Megumi Nishikora?
Yeah, I've met
She
her. I've
she
met
was
her before.
she did she I mean I probably heard about it from one of your episodes. 'Cause
Yeah,
you-
we did a interview once.
Right. Okay, that's right. That's probably where I heard about it a number of years ago. So actually, one of the guys who's featured in that, one of the brothers who's featured in that, his name is Edward, I think is his name.
Yeah, Edward Sugimoto or something.
Yeah. I think he was on your program too, if I recall correctly.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so he's an alumnus of Georgetown. So
Oh, really?
yeah, he was there. Interestingly enough, his freshman year was my last year in law school. So we were like on the campus at the same time. I get to talk with him ever in life directly, but I found that interesting. But you're aware that he starts his community in Japan, but even then I'm having difficulty like connecting with that community, and like a lot of the links that are given for his organization or for his group are kind of dated, and it's been a number of years since updates. So this has been some of the challenges, and there have been like a lot of people who've done mixed stuff before, but who have kind of like retired and gone to like conventional living, and additionally, so that's one of the reasons why for myself I offer myself um, as a continuum of this type of activism, and linking linking the past generations with the continuing generations. Have you ever seen any of these magazines?
Yeah, I heard of Maven, but I've never actually held a copy in my hand.
Yep.
Because I don't think they've made it to Canada.
Okay. Yeah. So
How did you get it?
haha. So it's a funny story. My brother was a student at Florida A&M, and he had a friend who was a photographer, and the photographer friend had done just a shoot for a Maven, and told my brother about it. Say, hey, you're mixed. You probably would like this magazine. And so he's like, oh yeah, check it out. And then my brother told me about it. So that was, again, this issue came out. I don't know if it has a date on it. It just says issue 8, but it came out like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So I found out about it like right when it came out, and then I got I got pretty much almost all the issues. There are only like I guess 8 or 9 issues made, but this is another one of them. But actually, I have family in Seattle where it was based, and I actually went to visit the offices, and that's how I got connected with Amanda. If you know.
Oh, you went to the office too. That's pretty cool.
But the office wasn't there. How about that?
Huh.
So it was like right when it went on hiatus, and they were like downsizing.
Oh shoot.
And I was there with my mother, standing outside the offices in our car, waiting for it to open up or anything, but it didn't happen. And so found out later that they were downsizing, and like they had a lot of the staff were let go, and a lot of the interns kind of were working off the thing or whatever. But anyways, I connected with Amanda at one of the critical mixed race studies conferences later on, and so she's kind of like, from what I understand, she's still the president, and she's still kind of like holding the reins, but in an increasingly modest way. So, but that's my point is like there's a lot of there was a lot of work that went into this, and I don't know.
Oh
if you,
yeah.
I
bet.
don't know if you ever saw. Let's see. Aha. I'm gonna spill all my CDs here, but this joint.
Chasing Daybreak. No, I never heard about it.
So Maven did a.
Or maybe.
Maven did a documentary where they had 5 mixed people go on a road trip. I don't know if you can hear me. There's a helicopter above.
Yeah, actually, wait. I remember hearing about that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's about the time when I actually learned about Maven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been it must have been like. I must have been just finishing high school or uni. It's been in uni or something.
Yeah. This came out. It has 2006 is the date on it coming out, but I think it was actually made a couple years before that.
Right. They would have filmed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is I only got that like a couple years ago, maybe a year or two ago. Amanda mailed it to me, but it's a nice film, and it gives like insight on like the grassroots organizing. But a lot of work went into that, and Matt Kelly, who's the one who was the founder of all that. I mean, like I don't know if he got burnt out, but he kind of like he invested a lot, and then he kind of went into his journalism career and moved to Korea. Maybe like a year or two after this was made. But the website's still up. The Mixed Heritage Center is still available. I think spotty sometimes in its availability, but for groups like Critical Mixed Race Studies and other groups that get started, like it, it's beneficial to like connect with the previous works that are done, to know what is done, to learn like the wisdom that comes from that experience, and to see what the needs are today and how to best do that. So there are cats like myself that provide that continuum, even to things like the HAPA Issues Forum, and the American Mixed Ethnicity Association, and additionally that the organizations that have kind of gone defunct or on hiatus. There's still institutional knowledge that comes with that. And then, like in England, there are places like People in Harmony. There's Intermix. There's Mixed. And so there are groups that are going strong in a number of different ways. The brother Bradley Lincoln, who started Mixed like 2 decades ago, he started a hair care product line for mixed people. And so that's where his emphasis is these days. But he's got a lot of knowledge about how to organize and how to connect with youth, and how to do programming and additionally. And so there's just a lot out there, but it takes some doing and some knowledge how to connect with it and how to build from it. So in the meanwhile, I try to give what I can to be a facilitator and like the glue or the connection that brings people together and builds further. So, and then cats like you that do the 100% mix show, in addition.
I'm done it in 4 years.
I know, but it's still there, yo, and it still comes up on search results. And so for people who are completely new, because I mean, what I've learned is like the YouTube audience is very young and kind of adolescent age, and so 4 or 5 years ago weren't looking at YouTube too tough.
Right.
And so that it's like you have a huge library that you continue to offer, even though the algorithms might not highlight it as much as whatever else. It's still very relevant information. It's relevant experience and insight and voices, and it's a lot of it, yo. You did a formidable collection, so it's a matter of connecting that with what's going on today. For example, the sister Casey Budd, who you did an interview with her. She's still going strong, but she went to a conference in Minnesota a month or two ago, and she had a bad experience. She was like, yo, people are just complaining, and like it was like a gripe fest, and like looking at like at being mixed as like a victim type of situation. And there's a certain amount of legitimacy within that perspective and experience, but at the same time, we've got to evolve past that dialogue, or past that whatever
identity,
that combo, yeah, and build upon it and say like, okay, what our needs are, what are the affirmations, what's the positive, what are our strengths, and how do we build from that. And so Casey mentioned in one of her vlogs that she's done with like being mixed because she doesn't want to. She got frustrated with hearing that experience from people who were basically complaining and not like speaking constructively. So she has experience, but she might not know like all the other people who are doing things. She hasn't been to one of the critical mixed race studies joints or whatever.
Right.
So
totally different vibe.
So she's got an audience that's current, and she has a voice that's being heard at this moment, but not necessarily. Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, my screen recorder just shut off. So
no, I still see you.
Yeah, but I was recording the joint on my. It's okay.
Oh.
It's all right. I'm recording it also on this joint.
Okay.
So I told you it's bootleg, yo. So anyway, because that's the nature we endure. It's called Gambaru. So anyways, she's unaware, presumably, of like people who are being increasingly constructive. and who are building, and additionally, because that conference that she went to, I think it was just the first, or not the first, but the second time that it was being convened. And to be honest, actually, the only person I know that I recognize, actually, there are two people that I recognize who are on there, are Athena, who you know,
Yeah.
who's been to a previous one of those conferences, and then
Mhm.
Sharon Chang, I think is her name. Do you know who
Mhm.
Do you know who she is?
Did she do swirl?
Nah, that's Jen Chow.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
She did. Sharon Chang wrote the book "Multiracial Child," I think it's called.
Okay.
But she's based out of, I think, Seattle.
Mhm.
She's been to the critical mixed race study. She's actually done a lot of stuff. But she's an author and a speaker and stuff like that. But I think she attended one of the previous conferences. But other than that, like all the organizers, and additionally, I think they were local to Minneapolis, and didn't have connections with a lot of the other standbys. So that's, again, there's one of the things that's needed in our Melange diaspora is institutional infrastructure, and there are a lot of institutions that are building autonomously, and it's beneficial for there to be a better connectivity, so that, again, there's that shared insight, that shared wisdom, shared resources, and additionally, to support each of our work and our collective work as well. So, and then Casey's voice has. I mean, she has a modest subscriber number, but um, it at least it at least gives additional um, messaging for or and information to community accordingly. So um, there's another brother called Cedric who's in Korea, who talks about being mixed Korean. And again, he doesn't seem to be aware of like what's going on in terms of mixed organizations. He speaks specifically about his Korean experience. He's living in Korea at this moment, and he talks with other mixed Koreans in Korea. But I get to hear him talk about anything of like the organizations that are happening. So again, it's that connectivity. So that's some of the stuff that I'm working on with what I have available to work on.
That's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot to take in.
I know, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm, I'm kind of just like spewing information at this point, just for it to absorb and to share for what benefit it serves. Um, so I'm interested in hear what you think about the cafe joint. What you're like, given what I described to you about like the conditions about where we are at the moment, bootleg and just doing it at the moment. What your suggestions are on how to proceed in a best way. And to be honest, like as you may well aware know, may well know, like very often I need an actuality check because I have ideas and I have like knowledge and wisdom and this and the other, but in many ways I'm out of touch with what people are experiencing these days and additionally. And so even if I have the most fantastic, awesome ideas and everything, it means it's only as beneficial as it can connect and relate with where others are at this moment. So, and how we present it, and additionally, is a significant influence in how it's received by others. So, it's helpful to receive from brothers like you some suggestions and insight of how to share that, of how to present it, and additionally, that in a way that's increasingly receptive to other individuals.
Right. Well, to me, just like I've told you before, I can't see it happening because of just the nature of social media now and where people are at. It's just not a, and I know it's maybe the the demographics are changing so quickly that it's becoming less of a isolating experience where you really would go find people online and make friends and keep that going. Nowadays, there's mixed people everywhere, so people say this and that online, and then they get their followers, but it's not like it used to be where it's like I really have no one around, so I'm going to join this forum and this group, and I need this.
Okay.
Nowadays, it's changed, and you see on TV and movies, there's always mixed characters now. So I just don't see like for the younger groups that they're going to be as into it as we were at that age, and then the people who have grown up now, and we're all people have families and crazy stuff going on, aging parents, and I just don't see it like that. The times have changed, and that I think that time that existed for a while, in the when Maven was around and your Asian Nation was very active. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
So
Well.
I mean, I'm like it's like today, like this meeting here, or this little chat. I mean, I'm probably the most likely person to take part in one of those cafes, but even it's not something I would probably prioritize, or I just don't see the 15-year-olds being like, you know what, instead of playing whatever game on my phone or hanging out with the other 15-year-olds, I'm just gonna listen to these old dudes talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
I just don't see it. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and again, that's the actuality check that is needed, and I believe there's a lot of truth to that, and a lot of legitimacy within what you communicate. That being said, I will also share in response that I think I say yes and no, because what you describe in terms of like the waning interest of mélanger, to be honest, I experienced that 10, 15 years ago, and I've got you by maybe about a decade. So I've experienced when I was and not only when I was your age, but when I was in my 30s, like I experienced that first like that like lull, or that like actually I was in my late 20s, early 30s when I experienced that like deflation. And and it wasn't necessarily about being mixed, because I had yet to like build up there was a lot of being mixed that was not yet come to fruition at that point. It was just basically being multicultural. It was a multicultural like deflation. And what I've observed is this: like when we're young, particularly at university age, we are very available to be open and to like new experiences, new people, new types of things, this, that, and the other. And the further we age in life, the further we mature, the further responsibilities that we get, and the further we tend to be entrenched within our own community, and tending to the needs and demands within our own community. And what I found is that people my age, back when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, who were multicultural tough when I was particularly in law school. When I was in undergrad, it was pretty much all people of African ancestry. So much of my multiculti was in law school. Like people were like you said, had kids, were having families, worried about jobs, this, that, and the other. Very pragmatic, immediate things. And the thing is, being mixed was like, or being multicultural was like an extracurricular thing, and it wasn't putting bread on the table. It was like the nice thing to do that made us feel nice. And so I think mélanger in many ways is like that, particularly because there have yet to be like mélanger corporations or mélanger political action committees and things like that. And so the way people are sustaining oneself is very much for a homogenous kind of in a homogenous context. And so when we get older, just a matter of fact of life is that we become increasingly pragmatic. We become increasingly practical. And at the moment, being mélanger isn't the most practical of things. It's existential and it's necessary and it's significant, but again, it's not putting a lot of jobs and it's not giving a lot of jobs to people, this, that, and the other. So again, like you say, people as we mature, as we age, we have to answer those things, particularly when we have responsibilities, children, and additionally. So me being single, still looking for a wifey, and being without children at the moment, I have the availability to kind of provide that intergenerational bridge, and additionally. But I think also that observation that you share is also generational specific, because there are young people who are in that zone. And yes, I think there's an increasingly accepted there's an increasing acceptance for multiculturalism within the conventional society that lends itself to being increasingly comfortable as being mixed, but it still doesn't speak directly and affirmatively to the experience of being mixed. I'm still working with the local university of getting a mixed student organization together. And actually, we have a discussion group meeting mañana about that as well. So the need is still there, the interest is still there, and when I talk with young people, the young people are on it. I was at the university today and handing out flyers for the discussion group, and I met a brother who was well interested, who never even heard about had never talked about being mixed before. I asked him, "Have you ever had a conversation about being mixed?" He's like, "Nah." So. And I met a young sister who just graduated from the university again, who asks me when is the discussion group and what can be done. So there is an interest amongst the young people, and it's just a matter of knowing how to bridge that conversation or broach that conversation, because I got these gray beards and I can do the fancy talking, this, that, and the other, but still I'm somebody called me elderly. Or the category like people over 40, elderly. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, and I know how I looked at 40-year-olds or whatever when I was in my 20s, and additionally, so there is that gap. So it is helpful to have kind of like that bridge accordingly. But particularly for people who've been doing this for years, and you have demonstrated a strong commitment just by how much you've invested in the past years in the work that you've provided and the gifts that you've shared. And so, and another brother that comes to mind is Shane Evans, the artist out of KC. And again, he's my age, and he has a daughter who's mixed herself. And well, him being his daughter, obviously, but even further, he was an that doesn't bring into that mélange tangle of like what actually is, anyways. But my point is that he's directly connected with the next generation and has a vested interest in the needs of the next generation. Sharon Chang, the sister that I mentioned, who writes the book, she writes that book particularly because her son is mixed, and obviously with her being mixed, and so she wants to build the library and the educational curriculum that supports children like her son. And so there are people who are speaking to that intergenerational need. This is just one of the things I can do at the moment to help kind of the continuity. The Critical Mixed Rice Studies Conference is probably one of the biggest things that's happening at the moment in terms of mélange. Hapapalooza even is big, comparatively speaking, just because there's an absence of anything else happening. And so the consideration is, at the very least, just keeping the dialogue going, keeping the discussion going. And through that discussion, when ideas emerge, when ventures emerge, to like share recommendations, share suggestions, make connections, share recommendations to people to connect with, and how to like get the resources necessary to do that. So, but I mean, communication plays such a critical role in any kind of human endeavor, and so for mélange people, the consideration is having a constant form or some kind of constancy of communication, and a conference is very helpful in doing that. But again, if a conference is only organized once every 2 years or whatever, then the continuity in the intermittent period is wanting, and so consideration is having something to fill in that gap or fill in that void. And so I'm unaware if there being anything else that speaks to that intentionally. So that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm working to offer.
Yeah, man. Like I said, that's what I see, or how I perceive things. My analysis of the situation. But if you see it another way and you have the experiences, so yeah, why not go for it? Why not try to organize and get some more people together? But just from my experience and what people have told me from the university, how much trouble it was keeping the club going after Facebook, and got really big. And that's already like 50, must be like 12 years ago. So I just personally, it's like it's not something that I would tackle myself, and just having those experiences. So, but if you see differently, like, go for it, man. It'd be great to see it. If you did it, man, it'd be amazing. Okay. But personally, I guess I'm just doing other stuff now, and he's trying to make money. It's like everyone else.
I hear you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man. I actually gotta get going.
Yeah. I appreciate you flowing through. One other question I'll ask you is your recommendation or your suggestion of how to make it increasingly appealing for people our age, perhaps for activists who've been doing it like yourself, but who are less interested or less vested in it at the moment. How to make it increasingly appealing and accessible and interesting to people in our age bracket, but then also to younger people, like you mentioned, even the 15-year-old. What might be some tips on how to to structure it or offer it to make it increasingly appealing? Are you talking? I can't hear anything.
Oh, my mic just got muted by
All right.
accident. I said if I knew, I'd probably still be doing the YouTube
Yeah.
channel, or have a lot of money on some sort of social media platform. I don't know. I don't have the answer to
Okay.
how to make it more appealing. I mean, there's the obvious advertising answers, but beyond that, I don't know. Like, throw money at it. Beautiful people, those always seem to get attention, but real long-lasting interest and connection. I guess start small and offer it and see what happens. I guess that's the only. I can't really say for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you taking the making the effort to connect on the line today. So, and I temper my expectations for future participation accordingly. But like I said, I'm planning to do this Monday through Thursdays, 2 p.m. I plan to invite additional people, and maybe amidst me getting some additional momentum, I might send you a note. You're welcome to contend whenever if you want to pop in, but I might, amidst God willing, getting additional amount of success and participation, like send you like a link maybe to like a previous example where you see additional people that might provide additional encouragement for flowing through again.
Yeah, if you have one of these with more people, some of the people we mentioned, let me know.
Yeah, sounds well. Well, I appreciate it, bro.
All right, Peter. Well, it's nice chatting with you, and yeah, let me know
All
if
right,
you have
sounds well,
some
Philip.
of our friends. You chat to some of our friends.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right.
See you, Peter.
Love and peace. So that's going to be the conclusion for this session. Over an hour. We're going to leave it at that. One love and peace. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, zaijen, adios, tehe chakaris, sempre na asbuwo, kele ufred. One love and peace.